Hello. So it's the 6th of April, and I have a couple things to talk about. Not pregnancy related. Well, kind of. My sister woke up this morning, and it was 5:45, and she went to the bathroom and stood up to pull her pants up, and her water broke everywhere. She will be 39 weeks pregnant on Monday, and went to the hospital, and they confirmed that her water did break, so she's in early labor, and they sent her home until her contractions kicked in, and told her that if her contractions didn't kick in by 6 o'clock tonight, which would be 12 hours after her water broke, then to come back in and they would start the induction process. So I am awaiting by the phone, and she's been walking and still not really much contractions, so I'm pretty sure she'll be at the hospital around 6 tonight with starting Pitocin, and I'll probably have a little niece or nephew, if we don't know what she's having, by tomorrow. So I'm super excited about that. I wish I could be there with her, but me being, 35 weeks, 2 days pregnant, I can't go see her. I'm in Northern California, around Sacramento, and she's up in Seattle, Washington, so, I'm right on that verge of not being able to fly anymore, and so it's just, I'm kind of having to stay here, and then we're going to meet up after both the babies are born. So that was big news for me today. I also got some other big news in a not very good way. Not for me personally. I mean, kind of. It affects my children, which is upsetting. And I know a lot of states out there are struggling, with the recession or whatever that we're in right now. But being in California, you've probably heard how bad we are in debt and how much cuts and stuff they're doing. Well, I've always kind of known it and had to deal with it. My husband works for the state, and he's had to do furlough days, and we've had to take pay cuts and, insurance cuts and things like that, and we've kind of dealt with it. And today I went into my son's school to help out with their Easter egg hunt, which was super fun. And I got there a little early, and so I was sitting and talking to his teacher, because they were all the kids were at the library and then out to recess. So we had a good 20-25 minutes before the Easter egg hunt started, to where we could, I just sit and talk to his teacher. I love his teacher. She's 27 years old. She's been there for 3 years. She taught second grade the first two, and this is her first year teaching first grade. And she told me that she got her pink slip in the mail, meaning she won't be back next year. And she wasn't the only first grade teacher. There was 6 first grade teachers, and 3 of them got pink slips. So we're losing, and that's just the first grade. I don't know the statistics for the rest of the grades, but we're losing 3 of our teachers, our first grade teachers. And that saddens me, because this is first grade. I wasn't very fond of his kindergarten teacher. It was at the same school, but she just kind of was one of those where she just seemed miserable in her job. And everybody tells me that it's not. Everybody's like, oh no, she was one of the best, yada, yada, yada. But she seems like she was always just miserable, and just took a while for me to warm up to her, and I never really got that niceness from her. But everybody else did. So I tell them it's probably just me, and I'm just being weird. But I love this first grade teacher so much. I mean, she's almost like a friend, We don't hang out outside of school or anything, but we sit and talk about everything when the kids aren't around. And I'm helping out and doing paperwork and sorting and stuff like that. So I'm sad to hear that she won't be back next year. She has no idea what she's going to do. And it also saddens me to know that they're expecting the same amount of students next year. I think this year they have 107 first grade students, is what they said, and they're expecting the same amount of students, and they're dropping 3 teachers. That means the class sizes are going to go from, I think that she said they varied now from 25 to 28 students. Now, this year, they're going to go from 33 to 38 students next year. And that really, really upsets me that it can get to that point where education, not only education, you know, safety, police, firemen, like all the stuff that like we really need as a community is just gone. And I'm getting emotional. Okay, but yeah, so we'll call this pregnancy hormones, but I'm really sad for my kids because I remember back when I was a kid, you know, classes were like 20 kids, and there was always 2 teachers. You always had a main teacher, and you always had an assistant teacher, and the assistant teacher was normally like, you know, like a student teacher. You always had 2 teachers. You always had around 20 kids in the class, and you know, you went to school a lot more. This year, they had 2 weeks off for Christmas. They came back, and in February, they had a whole week off. But you always got a President Day weekend, a long weekend in February. But, you know, they got a whole week off because of furlough days that they had to take. And now they're off here in April for another week for their spring break. And then and I think in next month they have a few days off next month too. And it's like, ridiculous. And every 2 Mondays a month they get early days to add up other furlough days. And it's like, why can't our children learn something? And it's like, no matter what the economy and everything has gone downhill, is because the main thing that needs to be focused on, which is the education of our children, is our future. And it's not. And I'm really upset about it. And I don't know what I want to do. My youngest is supposed to start that same school. Is supposed to start kindergarten. Do I want to keep him in that school so that when he hits first grade, he's in classes of 35 kids to one teacher? What is he going to learn? I don't know. I wasn't expecting him crying. Yeah, it's all pregnancy right there. But it just worries me. And to hear that this teacher, who I love so much, and because she's been there the least, the older teachers who don't have as good of a reputation get to keep their jobs because they've been there longer, and seniority and whatever. But why is it to say that seniority is better? I love her. Like, she is amazing with the kids. And she's pretty much like me. And I think that's why we get along so well, is the fact where she doesn't put up with these kids when they start getting out of control. She's fine with punishing them. And I mean, I say punish, but I mean punish is like moving your worm to like the yellow apple instead of the green apple or the red apple. Or they have a money system where, you know, they earn money when they're prepared for their studies, and she takes money away, and she's fine with, I mean, the way that she just talks to these kids and teaches, like, they've really learned authority and respect, and at the same time, they all love her too, because she's so loving, and the activities she does and how much she cares about these kids. It's great. And I know that a ton of teachers out there are like that are all going through the same thing. And now, you know, not only are they losing their jobs and their incomes, they're also losing their insurances. So, I mean, it's really upsetting to me. And I would love to be a teacher. I could never do it. because I don't have the patience to deal with 30 kids. But I would love to be a teacher because the organization and the fun and the crafts and the activities and all that type of stuff I love to do. That's why I like being a classroom parent, because I get to be involved with all the fun stuff. It's kind of like being a grandparent where you get to send them home. I get to send back to the teacher when they don't act right, you know. But that leads to another side note. It's like, where are the parents in all of this? I've worked in this class now, and it amazes me how many parents are not involved with their children. It really discourages when I'm going through their homework folders and pulling out their homework and seeing how many parents don't make their kids do their homework. They don't make sure their kids have lunches. They don't make sure that their kids bring their backpacks to school. You know, the stuff that you have to teach your children to do to gain that responsibility. And how many parents, you know, call and send notes being like, oh, you know, we didn't want to have to make her do her homework, so don't make her miss out on their fun Friday because it's our fault for not making her do her homework. You know, that was an excuse that the teacher got for one of the girls in our class who never does her homework and never brings her folders in. And these are the years, this first grade, second grade, elementary school, these are the years where we're building their future for what they're going to be like for the rest of their school years. Now it's the time to sit down and do their homework with them, walk them through, teach them their spelling words, you know, have that interaction with them. And that's been so important for me to do with my children because I didn't have a parent that did that. You know, I had to come home to an empty house and do my own homework every day. And you know what? That's fine. I had to do that. But I see the importance now of having a parent sit down with you and do it. And I put a lot of effort in there. And I know that these teachers put a lot of effort in there also. And it's like, where's the money for them? So that's my rant. Good news is I'm going to be an auntie. Bad news is California sucks. So I really wish we had plans to move out of California and up to Seattle around my sister. And the school systems up there, everything I've read is just so much better. So maybe we need to start checking that route out again because I don't know if this is where I want my kids to be. Something we're going to have to start thinking about, especially with a third on the way.